News team, assemble!
It's back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here from the Campus Corner Studios in Norman, Oklahoma. We do have a special presenting sponsor today for the Unofficial 40, and that's the Oklahoma Zoological Society 16th Annual ZOObrew, presented by Byron's Liquor Warehouse at the Oklahoma City Zoo, Friday, September 27th. Craft beer fans age 21 and older enjoy a variety of tastings from the finest breweries in Oklahoma, as well as wineries and distilleries. The gates do open at 6 o'clock. Now, this will sell out. It sells out every single year. Visit ozsgiving.org for details and to buy tickets today. That's the ZOObrew at the Oklahoma City Zoo, OKC Zoo, Friday, September 27th. And now I feel a lot like Eddie Radosevich because it's when you're reading stuff all the time, you worry that you're going to look like you.
It's a troublesome.
I know that's kind of a slam.
It's a troublesome endeavor.
Oklahoma, I kind of stumbled out of the gates. I was like, oh my God, I'm editing this.
I look forward to getting to the zoo.
Have you guys gone to that before?
No, but I would love to go.
It.
I love the zoo. I am a huge zoo person.
I'm a huge... Now, if they had red pandas, you should not let me have alcohol with red pandas. I would be in that cage trying to hug them.
Well, I don't know if that would be very smart. Are they nice animals?
You don't know what? You've never seen the red panda videos out there?
Not much of a.
They're
very
the
cute.
cutest animals on the planet Earth. I swear to God.
I did see a video though on X the other day of somebody sneaking into like not a red panda, it's like a regular panda exhibit, and they got their ass beat.
Sure.
Yeah, pandas don't like
That's
people.
what happens.
Yeah.
As cuddly as you think they are, they're a lot like other bears.
So as many drinks as you have for the ZOObrew, don't jump into any of the
Enclosures.
Yeah.
That would be
Don't
very
do that.
bad.
What was the date for that again?
Let's see. We're trying to trip me up here early. That is September 27th.
We'll be in Atlanta.
We will be in Atlanta. That'll be the night before the Auburn game.
But Carey, you can go.
I can go.
Yeah, go to the ZOObrew.
Bob can go with Pearl.
I bet Pearl would love the zoo.
Pearl would love the zoo.
I think
Bob
that's
can't drink,
exactly
though.
what they're looking for. Well, that's just more for everybody else that actually
true.
gets out there.
No, but it's a big event. Everybody go sign up, like I said, ozsgiving.org, because those tickets are going to go fast. Okay, boys. Eddie, you and Josh were at the Michael Fasusi announcement yesterday.
Yeah. Big day.
It was, you and I enjoyed the technical issues that presented us.
There weren't a whole lot of technical issues. It just couldn't find enough Wi-Fi to send everything back. So I should have just got in my car the first time. I thought about it.
That was my initial thing. Just get in your car now and come on. But I give you credit. You wanted to try. You're like, I'm going to try the Starbucks.
Well, I figured
I'm going to try the Barnes and Noble.
It was better than just waiting or just getting in the car immediately. I figured if I could get it up in 30 minutes from a Barnes and Noble or a Starbucks, that would have worked. But they were not helping the cause yesterday. But yeah, it was a big day. And shout out to Louisville High School. I thought that they ran an extremely tight ship yesterday.
You said that, yeah.
It was awesome.
It was very well done.
Yeah, the people were awesome. The On3, production of the announcement and all that kind of stuff was great. And then, obviously getting Michael Fasusi, it's about a year in the making, which Josh and I talked about on the YouTube instant reaction last night. This was a kind of a monumental day for Bill Beatonbow on his birthday.
Yeah, and I mean, just the overall class, and Sooners. I know on 3 they were up to number 11. I think other services had them, top 5 already. It'll be interesting. I know Steve Wilfong, had written an article yesterday, kind of saying, "Hey, watch out, they could still get Babalo." I know Josh feels like, at least last time we talked to him about Babalo, he felt like Michigan would maybe end up with him after it was all said and done. Has he been committed to Stanford?
No, it's just I think that there was a long belief that they let in the RPMs, and I still think it probably ends up Michigan, but I don't know. Maybe you can parlay the Fasusi news and get him and Ryan Foje and Owen Hollenbach and Darius Afalava to try to recruit him and add a 5th guy. That'd be incredible to an already great class. I mean, you're talking about historically probably the 2 best tackles that they brought in, maybe ever.
Should we just keep talking about the recruiting class instead of the actual offensive line until we get to game day? Because the recruiting class is fun to talk about.
I will say I think there's maybe some. I don't want to say too much because I don't know for certain, but I do think that
there's a little scuttlebutt out there.
Well, I think that there's a chance that maybe a Joshua Bates or Garen Hatchett might be able to give it a go next week at center, which is good news.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I've just not played into the idea that they're going to go in there without one of those guys. I've just kind of figured that one of them would be healthy enough.
It just sounds like those guys are doing a little bit more in practice, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure. And
like
it's a light
preparing to play.
Relatively a light week of practice, too, from everything that Brent kind of disclosed with us on Monday. Or, I guess, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a mock game today, I believe, at practice.
Yeah, and we've had media this week on Tuesday. We talked to Brent Venables. We talked to 4 different players, Bauer Sharp, Michael Tarquin, Caden Woolard was interesting to talk to for the first time. George and I kind of have our, he's kind of our sleeper pick, I think, for this defense. And who am I missing there? Who was the 4th?
Grayson Halton.
Grayson Halton, which, it's I think putting Grayson Halton out there, he's done a lot of media in the past, but, kind of how this works is we submit a bunch of names, and so, we knew if there's a guy, they haven't wanted us to talk to Jalil Farouk because the receiver position's been banged up. The big news Monday or Tuesday was that Andrell Anthony is not limited in practice anymore, and
I don't think we've talked to. Well, I guess we talked to Nick Anderson the very first media session, and then we talked to J.J. Hester. Those are the only 2 receivers we've talked to,
and we've requested Jalil Farouk almost every time,
and Deion Burks.
Yeah, Deion Burks too. So I mean, I don't know if that means anything. If that means they're trying to hide who's banged up and who's not. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Besides the offensive line, that we should be keeping an eye on. George, is it? I mean, that maybe this receiving core is a little banged up.
I think they are. We'll see if Nick Anderson can give it a go next week. I know that he's missed some time at practice. Andrell Anthony sounds like is I don't think he'll play next week, but it sounds like he's pretty much medically cleared when Brent said he has no limits in practice right now. So that's good news. But I think that, I know Brennan Thompson was banged up at one point, but I think he's fine. So I think they're just kind of all going through it a little bit. It would be nice, though, to talk to Farouk. I wouldn't be shocked if he's named like a captain next week, just because he is one of those, you think of those 4 guys that are still on the team from the Lincoln Riley era. He's one of them.
Here's kind of my question. Do they not name like Bowman and Stutzman and in turn highlight some of the other guys on the defense that have been playing well and working hard?
I think they would. It would be crazy. I don't know. Maybe it's not crazy, but I think it'd be very weird if Danny and Billy were not named captains to start the season, and Ethan.
I don't think it would be. I think it would be weird if they're named like this week and they're not the week they play Tennessee. Like, if they're going to do the week-to-week
this whole
captain
thing is stupid anyways. Like I heard Gabe and Teddy talked about this the other day on their show, and they said the same thing. It's just like, it's ridiculous. Like, just pick your 4 or 5 for the season, and that's who it should be.
I agree, but I'm just saying we're probably not going to get that because this is what Brent.
No, I know, we're
this is
definitely
part
not.
of Brent's little culture that he promotes.
Yeah,
not
I know.
to demean it. I mean, just it's
no. I understand where it's coming from because you get other guys in there to be captains, but I would be pretty shocked though if Danny and Billy and Ethan are at least 3 of the guys going out there for the coin toss.
I could see it being. I could see them sending all 5 of them. All 5 of the guys that are the long tenured vets of.
Who's the 5th one?
Woody.
Oh yeah, Woody. I forgot about Woody. That'd be great.
I've seen it.
Jackson. I don't know if I
care.
Yeah, I don't care either.
Here's my question too: is Woody the starting corner in game 1?
I think he'll be the first one to go out there. I'm interested to see what the depth chart looks like. I put out my projected depth chart. Is that when it comes out, Tuesday?
They usually do it right before Brent has his first. Well, it'll be Monday.
I was going to say, I think it'll be Monday.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I put out my projected depth chart. the secondary is so. I think there's going to be a lot of oars, whether that's at safety with Peyton Bowen or Robert Spears-Jennings. I think at corner you could see both starting corner sides being like, Woodi Washington or Kenai Walker, Gentry Williams or Des Malone. I think Jacoby Johnson's going to be on the 2 deep. Eli Bowen, where is he at? Like, I think I put on my depth chart Woodi Washington at like 3 different spots, and I don't think that's actually what's going to end up happening, but I just don't know where exactly. I think he'll be at corner, listed as a starter at corner. I don't know if he'll be listed anywhere else. Like Cheetah, I feel like we haven't talked about the Cheetah position at all. Kendall Dolby's going to start, but I don't really know. I think it's Samuel Omasigo as the backup, but I don't really know who else is there because those are 2 different types of players. So I don't really know who's going to back him up there. And Deshaun McCullough is still not practicing. So I don't know. The secondary is very curious to me because they have so many guys. It's a good problem to have. I just don't know what that depth chart's going to look like and who exactly is going to run out there first. Because you could still convince me that it's going to be Peyton Bowen that go out there first on defense. It could be Robert Spears-Jennings. I have no idea.
How about tight end with the most snaps in game 1?
Bauer Sharp. And I listed it. I
don't know. You got to be careful about that because like how much are those guys? Yeah, I guess in a reality, like actually going to play, or you get
right.
Like, does a Cade McNamara or does a Devon Mitchell end up with more snaps than one of the quote unquote starters just because the game gets so out of hand?
Or maybe Caden Helms being a young guy that hasn't played a whole lot.
I could see Caden Helms getting
force him a little.
I guess I took your question more as like who's the starter in that game, and I wish I could take back my depth chart in a couple spots, and that's one of them because I think I put. Bauer Sharp or Jake Roberts. I think Bauer Sharp's going to be listed as tight end 1.
I think part of your problem is the notebook's broke or the mailbag has broken you a little bit.
Yeah, it has. I've gotten a lot of stupid questions. There are a lot of stupid questions every single week. I get 2 into my head.
Yeah, we can't get you into answer this question, move on to the next.
Well,
we got to get you thinking underneath.
Then
the surface.
Then I put up a depth chart projection, and the board is just crucifying me. They're like, "Well, I can't believe you put an or there." I'm like, I'm taking a guess, an educated guess, guys.
When the depth chart comes out, you will be vindicated. I'm telling you, because oars are going to be everywhere.
Oh, I know they're going to be everywhere, and I just tried to give my best shot on where it's like really close between one guy or another.
And look, nothing. I mean, here's the thing: you play Temple, you play Houston, you play Tulane. They're just trying to get everything settled before Tennessee comes to town.
Yeah, and I think especially up front on the offensive line, and that's where I'm really curious who's going to go out there first because they have tried so many different combinations over fall camp, and I continue to think that the starting line, if they were playing Tennessee tomorrow, would be Tarquin, Sexton, Hickman, Fabechi, and Taylor, but all those guys aren't healthy, so I don't know. And then it's like, do you play Hatchett at center? Because I know he's been working a little bit at center now because they're not as healthy there. Like, when is Everett going to get back? Does he fight for a spot? Taylor, he's a little banged up. So does that mean Spencer? I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what they're gonna do on the offensive line. I think you're gonna see a lot of different combinations the first game.
Seeing is the key. And seeing is something that Mr. Edward Radosevich does very well because he's gotten LASIK done at a wonderful facility in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, maybe you've heard of it. Maybe I've talked about it. Enjoy Vision is the best laser vision center in Oklahoma City. It's not even close. The combination of mind-blowing technology, experienced eyeball surgeons, and exceptional patient care was life-changing for me. What Enjoy is doing for the Unofficial 40 listeners, they're giving $400 off of LASIK. All you got to do is go to enjoywithme.com. That is letter NJOY withme.com and use promo code U40 if you're interested in collecting $400 off LASIK. Enjoy Vision. This is where you LASIK.
And it's crazy because, we're so close to the start of the season. I know this is always the way it's happened for me, guys. Like, I'm sitting up there in the press box in the first game, and they're getting ready to kick off, and I'm going to be like, I can't believe we're already here. And this offseason,
I've been saying that for
was
like a
so
month.
busy compared to other years past with all the SEC stuff. But I think the one thing that we've been reporting on so many things, and there has been some Jackson Arnold panic around there, but I am really curious. I mean, you talk about the receivers, and Seth Littrell being a new offensive coordinator, like, are they going to go out there and just let it fly and try and get Jackson Arnold immediate confidence in this offense? Or are they going to just kind of take it slow with him? You've got the helmet stuff you got to work through for the first game. You've got different rules clockwise. You got a 2-minute drill now. There's so many things for a first-time starting quarterback to work on. Like, how are they going to approach that from a philosophical direction?
I think they're going to kind of let them loose, I think. And I say that in a way that's like they're going to drop some stuff that's going to be like real easy plays. Like I think you could see some screen passes, some stuff, get Deion Burks in space and just let him go. And then also just let some of these guys, like a Brennan Thompson, just run some streaks down the field and let Jackson have some success. I'm curious to see what formations they're in, what personnel they're in, because I do think it's going to look a little different than what Jeff did, but they're also not going to show a whole lot.
You think it'll be vanilla?
Yes.
And I think they should be able to have a lot of success doing that. I mean, I hate to just shit on them, but Temple might be one of the worst teams in college football this year.
I think they're going to here's my bold take for the first game. I think they're going to rush for more than they pass. I don't even know if that's a bold take. I think they're going to rush for like 300-something yards.
Be a good start. Be a good start.
And who will rush for the most yards? Javonte Barnes?
I think Sawchuk. I think this game is a game where Sawchuk has a couple just big runs, but I think it's going to be by committee because, like Eddie said earlier about the tight end thing, I mean, I could see a scenario where Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes aren't playing in the second half, and Taylor Tatum all of a sudden, has 100-something yards rushing, or Caleb Hicks.
Am I crazy, or did Brent Venables actually bring up Sam Franklin's name for the first time?
As a kick
it was
returner.
more of a kick returner situation. But yeah, that was the first time that we had heard his name all preseason.
And I don't know what to make of the kick returning stuff either.
Because he named everybody on the roster.
Yeah, he named
did,
7 guys.
But 6 of those guys, like Eddie said on one of the YouTube shows, are starters.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do?
I do think that is kind of an interesting conversation, and I think that was something that I think Bob brought up, talking about, last year Brenda talked to putting guys back there that are starters and basically saying, like, we went 6 and 7 last year. We don't really have a whole lot of time to pick and choose who we want to put back there. You got to put some guys back there that you feel like are going to be at least somewhat of a game changer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think it's an interesting conversation. Like, do you want to put a starter out there?
I think Peyton Bowen.
The history of some guys have gotten hurt on the special.
I think
teams
Peyton Bowen is going to do one of the two. I just don't know which.
Kind of feels like more of a punt returner. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I saw him return more punts in high school.
And he did in the spring game.
Yeah,
he was the punt returner in the spring game.
Sure.
I always like it when it's a potential backup running back, like not your feature back. Of course, everybody started talking immediately when that list of names came out because a lot of them were key players. And remembering back to when Billy Bowman got hurt on a kickoff return, and everybody's still a little, I think, gun shy from that. It's just like, why
Murray,
why waste it? Yeah, DeMarco that was watching his knee get caved in that game. It was awful.
And one of the things,
an onside kick.
One of the things too is I wonder if they look at it too, because I remember somebody was talking last year about, I think it was Farouk and Sawchuk were the two guys back on kick return, and it was like they're returning the kick and then they're going out there and starting on offense. It's like, would you rather have, I don't know, a defensive guy or a backup receiver, a backup running back do it that isn't about to just go out there and also take snaps for the offense, like immediately after returning the kick?
Didn't they have Burks doing stuff in the spring game?
I wouldn't be shocked if you saw Burks just because he's so electric back there, but he's another guy that's like, you do not want to lose him. I think more like a Brennan Thompson would be good back there, or a Sam Franklin, or somebody like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, special teams, let's face it, the biggest thing that you want there is just for them to make field goals.
Yeah,
make field goals and don't fumble the football.
Yeah, and don't muff the punts.
Yep.
And I mean, regardless of how good you are, and I know, I'm sure that Brent Venables wants an advantage on special teams. He's not Lincoln Riley. Like he would like to go out there and have special teams be a difference in the game, whereas Lincoln Riley just wanted to get the football and give it to his offense. I think Brent's a lot more, let's go make this an advantage, but at the same time, I hate to say this, I kind of err on the side of Lincoln Riley with special teams.
I think it depends
on how good your offense is.
Yeah, I think it's a balance. I think if you have somebody that's just a really great returner, like a Marvin Mims a couple years ago, or who was it? Jalen Saunders was really good.
Yeah, flipped a couple Bedlam games with punt returns.
I don't know if they had that last year, and they maybe tried to do too much in the return game where, Gavin Freeman, I think there was too much.
Oh, it starts with one thing, like specifically with punt return. You
Yes.
got to catch the ball
Right.
before you do anything.
And I think that Arkansas State game, he has that big return, and it was a great return. But like that was, I don't know, it was like a fool's gold almost at one point, because then it felt like every time he was back there, he was forcing his hand. Like
I think he lost all confidence in
Yes.
being an ability to catch the football, and then he was thinking, oh shit, every time that I do touch the ball, I need to do something, and then he was trying to do too much.
And so like I think it's a balance. Like if you have this is why I keep going. I think Peyton Bowen is a great returner, and that's why like if you have somebody like that who can change a game like that, then you return it. But if you don't,
And he's just extremely intelligent. You don't, like, I don't think that Peyton Bowen's somebody that's going to be back there trying to do stupid stuff with the football or trying to do too much.
And I think he's going to be sure-handed.
Sure.
So,
I mean, I do think that, like, the Luke Elzinga thing, like, just talking about special teams in general, he was a little bit of a weapon at the end of last year. He had a really good back half of the season. You have to be really, really solid on field goal unit, and we'll see.
I was about to say that's where it's
just one of those things.
George, would you like to get yourself in trouble and talk about place kickers right now?
I mean, I think it's going to be Zach Schmidt. People aren't going to be happy about it. But
I've heard that he's made over 90% of his kicks in the preseason. Now, I know that that means nothing when August 30th rolls around, and it means
we all
nothing when
know
the
that.
season.
Yeah.
Like he has a great leg.
I think everybody knows that.
We've all said that we want to see it in a game, no matter what we hear out of practice.
But like, if I was in, and this is the part that I think that the staff is in, is like they're like watching these in practice, and they say, well, how can we not start this guy? And that's not to say Keltner's just been bad, but I also don't think
he's not been good.
Yes, I've heard he's not. I've heard he's been very average.
He's done enough that I think he's forcing the hand of the coaches and saying, like, we've given you every opportunity, and he'll probably still get opportunities throughout the season. But I don't think that they can go in, like, I don't think that they would, like, lose the locker room because of who they pick for kicker. But I do think, like, if they went with Keltner in game one to start, I think there'd be a lot of people that have been at practice like, what the shit?
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't made anything.
And that's where I'm at. It's like you eventually just have to pick the guy that's been the best that you've seen.
And maybe you roll the dice there. And, I think kicking is kind of a funny thing in that you build a lot of confidence. Maybe Schmidt gets off to a good start this year, and he's a completely different guy. I don't know. The kicking thing is just, it's kind of insane to me because they do have a guy in Zach that I think he has the best leg on the team. There's no doubt about it.
And I also, the thing that's crazy about this is we're not going to know either until like a tight game.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's the unfortunate part.
I could see him going out in the first 3 games and just nailing some field goals, some big field goals. But you get to that Tennessee game and it's, 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter and you can go up 2 scores and you trot him out there for a 45-yarder.
I mean, shit, he missed the 34-yarder up in Stillwater last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's those situations
in
that
the
I'm
fourth
like,
quarter.
Until he does that, that's because like he could go out and kick a 55-yarder against Temple, and I'd be like, cool. Yeah. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, let's see you do it in the fourth quarter on the road at Auburn.
Scary. That's a scary proposition.
Yeah. Get back to on the field stuff. I am curious what the pre-gaming is going to look like in Norman. I mean, you're going to have 4 straight weekends. Temple is a 6 o'clock start. Houston, a 6:45 start. Tulane, 2:30. Tennessee could still be anywhere between 5 and 7.
I think it's going to be a night game. Oh, I guess it is a night game. 5 to 7. Okay.
Either 2:30 to 3:30 or 5 to 7.
Oh, so it could be 2:30 to 3.
Could be 2:30 to 3:30.
I think it's going to be a night game. That's just I don't have any insight.
If everything goes as planned and they're both undefeated, it's probably a night game.
Yeah.
But the Duck Pond, the Boyd Lawn. Like, I've had more people ask me about the SEC Network and Sooner Vision than I have about tailgating so far. I don't know how you guys have. You got any mailbag stuff? About that?
And I don't really know the answer completely. I guess you have to be a subscriber to SEC Plus to get the Sooner Vision.
I think
stuff.
it is. If you have SEC Plus on cable, you can also. I don't think everything SEC Plus is on ESPN Plus.
No, it's not. I don't think. I don't really know because I have ESPN Plus and then I also use my parents' Cox login to watch just ESPN or whatever.
Which I pay for. Yeah, I pay for the Pac-12, the SEC, well, not anymore, but the Big Ten, like all the conference networks I pay for on my cable and here at the office.
Somebody actually asked Toby about this today. Brother Mike did, and he just asked, will we still have the Coaches Show and other programs we used to have on Sooner Vision / ESPN Plus? Toby responded and said that they will now air on SEC Plus. Sooner Sports content will also re-air each weeknight at 10:35 on KSBI 52 in Oklahoma City and KQCW in Tulsa.
In Tulsa, yeah.
Is that the
that's
KSBI?
That's the deal that they made. Like Griffin made that deal to be able to put the coaches shows and the specialty shows. I don't know if are they going to allow Plank to do the assistant coaches shows anymore? I don't know. I guess I could text Plank, but
I guess my question is, do you get SEC Plus with ESPN Plus? Like if you subscribe to ESPN Plus, is that also?
I don't think you get everything. I think you still have to have over-the-air cable.
I don't know. I kind of think you might.
I really don't know, but I know that I pay for it. Like I don't know if it's a bundled together. Or
I
not.
did watch SEC Now the other day when Brent was on.
Yeah.
And I had just watched it through the ESPN Plus login. So
I think the really big stuff you're going to be able to catch now. The Sooner Sports Pad and stuff like that, you're probably not going to get that on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I honestly don't know the
university-driven
answer.
stuff.
I really don't know. I guess we could ask Nate about that. I would also say too, because everything's moved up this week, I know like the coaches show and all that kind of stuff is going to be on Sunday night. Will be aired on Sunday night, like the huddle and all that kind of stuff that they normally, the Rudy's stuff. That will be on Sunday night instead of Monday this week.
I really just wish that Brent would do his post-game show the day after the game. Doing it that night, not having broken down the film, not being able to show highlights for him to comment.
I think it's funny.
But I mean, that's just the whole purpose of me enjoying that show is that he talks about the game.
Yeah.
Like when it plays
that's
back.
Over. That's over. That is over.
Yeah.
I think
he doesn't do that anymore.
That like the playback show that we used to watch as a Radosevich family on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock or
Steve
7
Newman.
o'clock. Yeah, like that. I think that it's just over. Like I don't think that we'll ever see Brent do something like that.
I think Brent has. I think part of it is he uses Sundays or the day after the game differently than maybe like Bob or Lincoln did. Like I think he has different meetings or practices or something going on.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, they used to record the coaches show at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Now they do it completely right after the game. As soon as we get done with the post-game press conference.
He and Dean sit down in the room where he had his press conference and they knock out a coach's.
And Toby does it now, right?
They
Toby will
build a makeshift set basically on the road. Obviously, they do it in the Sooner Sports Properties area of the stadium if they're in town. But yeah, it's crazy on the road to see like the makeover that room goes.
Some good news while we're talking about stuff like this, we will get to talk to coordinators. It sounds like after games.
After games, yeah.
So,
which we did that once upon a time.
We did it last year,
but it was only Jeff Lebby, and then it stopped being Jeff Lebby after the Art Briles thing happened.
No, we got him.
He still talked after the game. He just didn't do his press conference. We just stopped doing weekly press conference.
He still talked after the game because I had to ask him after the game about all the after the TCU game about all the Mississippi State rumors.
Yeah.
But so Zach Alley's introductory press conference will be at like 10 p.m.
Friday night, yeah.
So what made you decide to come to Oklahoma, Zach?
He's like, you guys want to ask me about Temple? No, not really.
I mean, hopefully we don't have to ask him about Temple. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, hopefully there's nothing to talk about.
Well, and what the other thing I mentioned was tailgating. Like they've got, if you've been down on campus lately, you see that they've been kind of, I don't know if they're paving or just resodding the Boyd Lawn area.
Well, they added a sidewalk there.
Okay.
So there's a sidewalk north of Boyd now that goes all the way down, up and down, I guess from east to west. But yeah, they just resodded everything. It actually looks really good.
And I'm thinking the key to all of this is just fans figuring out an easy way for them to get things in and out of the tailgating areas. Because you have, whether it's Lindsay or Boyd Lawn or Duck Pond, I think people are going to gravitate to wherever it's easiest for them to dump stuff off.
Probably. I think.
And I don't know if the North Oval makes it easier to go on Boyd Lawn than it does other places. Or
I don't know. Because I don't know if you can necessarily get in over there like before, like during tailgating periods. I really don't know. I would imagine that we could check on this, but I would imagine that they announce some type of
procedures.
Yeah, like regulations or whatever.
I bet those come out
early next week.
Early next week, or maybe even like
it could be
tomorrow.
the end of this week. Yeah,
like Friday.
It could be today. I wouldn't be surprised
we
if
could
it was
check with
today.
the president's office to see if they have anything scheduled, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the key, because I think that's the complaint that I hear most from people is like, we'd love to tailgate. We just don't know how to, get our stuff out there and unload it and then load it after it's over. Like, because how do you put stuff in your truck
the guy
after the game when traffic's going down Boyd?
The guy that sets up the tailgate, like wherever that may be, the captain of the tailgate, that is a like under the radar MVP. Like the person that actually puts it all together and wherever you're talking, having to bring all that shit down here.
Yeah,
it's a haul.
Well, that's like people that love to throw parties. I am never going to be that guy. Like, like hosting parties. I've done it like in college a little bit. Like, I don't enjoy that. It's just you do all the work. Everybody else has all the fun. But there's some people that just that's what gets them going, man, is like hosting a party and making everybody happy.
Bringing all the grill down and the smoker and all that kind of stuff.
Like
those people are heroes.
Granansky was that way for us.
They're heroes.
Yeah.
They're heroes.
Shout out
of game day.
Barb and Peter Oven.
Yeah.
They
throw
huge
a huge tailgate. Over
every
in Goddard parking lot, right?
Yep. It's a good tailgate.
So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll find out a little bit more on that with all the game day stuff going on. There is something else that we want you to know. It's the company that is sponsoring today's podcast. Well, a company, great organization, I should say. The Oklahoma Zoological Society 16th Annual ZOObrew, presented by Byron's Liquor Warehouse at the OKC Zoo. I messed it up, Eddie. OKC Zoo, Friday, September 27th.
It's back! The Oklahoma Zoological Society's 16th Annual ZOObrew, presented by Byron's Liquor Warehouse at the OKC Zoo, Friday, September 27th. Craft beer fans aged 21 and older will enjoy a variety of tastings from the finest breweries in Oklahoma, as well as wineries and distilleries. Gates open at 6 p.m. Tickets will sell out. Visit ozsgiving.org for details or to buy tickets today. ZOObrew at the OKC Zoo, Friday, September 27th.
Yeah, go check it out. Great way to support a great place here in Oklahoma City that only gets better and better with time. Also, if you're going to the games this year and you don't have season tickets, we want you to check out the Game Time app, gametime.co. That is their website. You can also go check them out on your App Store, your Google Store, and download it. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Filters out the fluff, and they show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you need to do is download the Game Time app, create an account. We've all done it. Use code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ON3 for $20 off. Download that Game Time app today. They also have great just customer service stuff. Like if you get a game in the future and you happen to lose your job between then and there, you can sell your tickets or not have to pay your for the tickets, and they'll take care of you. But I know George uses it a lot for Thunder games, and Eddie has used it before as well. But it's a great app, and we hope you'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm actually looking at it right now. You can go to the Temple game for $33.
And it shows you where your seats are in the stadium.
Yep, you can get really good seats. They have some even closer down for about $50. So it's super easy to use, and like Carey said, you can use that code ON3 to get $20 off your first purchase. Game
Time also will have the best price differentiator. That was a tough one. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code ON3 for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right. It's not game week yet, but remember, basically Sunday becomes Monday because the game's on at Friday night. It's going to be interesting because they'll be shutting down campus on Friday. I do know, and I don't know that this will take effect on Thursday, but being a tenant down here on Campus Corner, I was contacted about a petition that's floating around. They're trying to get it to where Campus Corner is blocked off on Friday nights. And I don't know, I mean...
When did they do that? I was thinking about this. When did they do that in the past? Would they come around at like 2 a.m. or something
the
night?
I mean, we've been here late on a Friday night. It's basically 2 a.m. because they tow everyone away if you're parked down here.
Right.
And so they start putting up the barricades and the barriers.
And they want to do this now Friday afternoon.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, they didn't say specifically what time of day, just that Friday evenings, everything would be blocked off down here and it'd be more like a big party.
I'm all for everything that brings people closer to campus sooner before the kickoff. I'm down for that.
It sounds like all of this stuff, the tailgating, Campus Corner, sounds like the city and the school have really embraced this whole.
They're at least
improving
making a concerted effort to say this is a big deal. We know we need to be better on game day, and they're at least somewhat trying. I know there's some stuff on Campus Corner as well with beers and stuff that I think is actually ridiculous, but it does seem like as a whole everybody's trying to make this a better game day atmosphere. And I think that just with the schedule, I don't know about Temple and to a certain extent any of the non-conference games, but when the conference season rolls around, I mean, this is truly one of the best conference schedules / home schedules Oklahoma's had in, what have we been saying, a decade at least?
I don't think you'll notice a huge difference, at least until Tennessee comes to town. I think it'll be kind of, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there'll be a certain level of excitement that we're not used to down here. I will say this, the spring game, it was nuts down here. I mean, I was in the office. There were more people on Campus Corner than I ever remembered for a spring game. So, I mean, maybe it will be complete chaos and madness, and especially if they shut things down on Thursday or Friday, Fridays eventually. Maybe it becomes even more of a party down here. Maybe they figure some stuff out. I know, I've been contacted throughout by other, people down here saying, "Hey, what can we do to make this Campus Corner stuff better?" But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be something that we see develop over time. It's not gonna change overnight, but I think it's gonna change incrementally better as each week and each season goes on.
Yeah. I mean, I do think, and I've said it before on the pod, just in terms of, I think that oftentimes we live in this Oklahoma bubble and don't truly kind of realize how good it is. And I think we like to bitch about it a lot. But then when, an Ohio State comes to town or a Notre Dame comes to town or whoever, and you get the, kind of the feedback from the visiting fan base, they're like, holy shit, that was an amazing atmosphere. And it's like, well, was it? I don't know. I think you do get kind of blinded in a way about it.
It's because if you play for someone like Oklahoma, you're going and watching them play. When you go on the road to cover the team, you're seeing them in someone else's Super Bowl every week.
Yeah, sure.
You don't get to see, you don't know what it's like when TCU plays Kansas 4 years ago when there's nobody in the stadium. You never experience a college football game. We've never experienced a college football game like that.
I think
where
the John
nobody's
Blake
here.
days, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a couple times when I was in the stadium with my family growing up.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great atmosphere this season. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for the conference games.
I mean, I think Tennessee's going to be electric.
It'll be nasty. I mean, it'll be nasty, but it'll be just crazy.
I mean, do you remember how crazy the Ohio State game was in 2016?
Yeah.
And just it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that every week.
Yeah. And you had lost going into
I guess 16-2 was a little bit different too because everybody was in the stadium for the first time since they redid the south end zone and all that kind of stuff. But I think those types of atmospheres will start to almost kind of become common or more common than they already are.
I was a student then, and I remember the week leading up to that game, and it was just
Ohio State.
Yes.
Yeah,
the buzz on campus.
It was sick. That was even after they got beat by Houston.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's a negative about this schedule this year is, let's say, you beat Tennessee, you go on the road, beat Auburn. Let's say you beat Texas. It'd be crazy if they came back undefeated, but you're playing South Carolina, who's...
I still think I think every game this year maybe outside of the 3 non-conference, and even them, I think it's going to be good atmosphere. But I think every SEC game this year, even South Carolina, it's going to be a great crowd.
It kind of feels like it's a little bit of a build-up each week, too.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Temple on a Friday night, it's going to be a unique experience. Season openers are always kind of fun. And then, obviously Houston and Tulane. But then you start getting into the real deal. And it would be crazy if they could do that.
The main game, I have low expectations for the crowd for the main game.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It probably depends a lot on how much of, equity they've built through the first 7 games of the season or whatever it's going to be, or 8 games.
I'm sure they'll sell it out. I saw Missouri's having issues.
Yeah, I saw
selling
Drink
out.
was complaining about people not selling out tickets.
And Drink's right. That's the thing is
They're not a real program if you're not selling out your opener. And what is it? What are they, 62,000 or something like that?
yeah, I think so.
And they've only sold like 40.
I mean,
or something?
they're are they number 10 in the country? Like they should be. Like this should be the most excited.
It's not a serious football school.
This should be the most excited they've been since
62.6.
What year was
the,
Chase
official
Daniel? 2007.
capacity.
That they were like top 5.
No, 08. No, that would have been 09 when they beat them in San Antonio for the Big 12 champion. No, 07.
07, yeah.
Because they would have.
They were going to play for the national title
that year,
right?
That was the first time I ever saw someone run no huddle for an extended period of time. Chase Daniel was one of the first quarterbacks that ever did that. And they were doing it in other places, but in this part of the country, that was because you got to realize Kevin Wilson didn't start. Kevin Wilson started doing it the next year. Mm-hmm. And that's when they were scoring 50 points a game and set all the NCAA records. But that was a lot of fun watching Curtis Lofton play against Missouri in those years. Because he hated Chase Daniel. I think everybody hated Chase Daniel.
They terrorized Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, those Missouri teams were really good. It's kind of like what Oklahoma State had run into over the last, 5-6 years, I guess, outside of last year, I guess, or the last 2 years, just in terms of like, they were a really good football team, but Oklahoma was always in the way.
We've had a lot of fun with the QR code stuff the last couple of days on the radio.
Yeah, what's your official take on that?
It's a good idea. I've told Joe Castiglione that he needs to do that, but my thing is...
Oh, not at OU.
No.
I mean, if they do that to the helmets,
I'm not saying the helmets. My thought was, and it's a marketing play. It's like you go out and you sign up Cash App or Venmo as a sponsor, an advertiser, and you put up stations at the concession stands or places in the stadium.
Put them on the seats.
Yeah, put them on the seats where if a player makes a good play, you Cash App money into an account. Like, boom, immediately. There, it's done. Put it on the screen in the stadium. Like, nobody's going to be able to scan a QR code on a helmet. And somebody thought, like, if we put it on the helmets, it'll make people mindful. It's so small, you won't even be able to see it from the stands.
And if they were going to do it, put it on the helmets. Like if OSU should flip it and put it on the front of their helmet.
Yeah, so if they score a touchdown, they can go up to the camera.
The back of the helmet
Gabe
doesn't make a whole lot of
said
sense.
that on Twitter.
Yeah, but I think putting them on the seats or putting it up on the, I think they might do something on the big screen or something. But like, could you imagine? Like, I was thinking about this the other day. If you like went back to 2015 and Stephen Parker or 2017, Stephen Parker makes that play against TCU to like send him to the playoff or whatever, and they just put up on the big screen like a QR code for Stephen Parker.
Yeah.
NIL.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
that'd have been awesome.
It's not just because when you do OSUs, if you scan the code, it takes you to a website and you got to pick the amount and then you got to pick your form of payment. Like if you did it in Cash App would have to pay you money, everyone would download the Cash App. And then they would just quickly scan that code. It would take them right to the Cash App, and they would be able to give money.
I don't know. It
there.
also would be kind of awkward. Like I was just thinking now, like let's say Jackson, throws a touchdown pass to Deion Burks, and they do the whole celebration thing, and then like during the TV timeout, they put up on the big screen, and here's a QR code that you can donate. Like I don't know. That just feels kind of cheesy.
Here's what you should do.
If you do that, you should be able to take your money back when he throws an interception.
Here's my idea for Deion Burks. If he's going to score all these long touchdowns, you know how they have the gloves when you put them together, it makes OU? Do gloves where you put them together, it makes a QR code.
But I wouldn't be surprised if we see that from somebody.
That'd be pretty awesome.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know.
Because
I just
fans
put them
would
on the
pause
seats.
the game and go back and
Just
scan.
put one Oklahoma barcode on the seats.
Yeah. It seems too easy. Other than putting a QR code on a helmet. It just, I don't know.
Well, the easiest is just tacking $20
You're better
onto-
than that.
to game tickets. That's the easiest
Oh,
solution.
no. I mean, when you said that, it's like, why have schools not already done this?
Yeah.
It
And
really is too
and
easy.
I said that on the radio the other day, and I had all these people like, we already pay enough. I don't need to pay $20 for players. And I was just like, they're not going to tell you. They're not telling you your tickets are $20 more because of NIL.
Just say this is an SEC thing.
Just say, yeah.
Nobody will
Tickets
care.
are higher.
$20.
Sorry. Yeah.
And I would imagine if you're already paying the exorbitant amount of money that people are paying, $20, like if you have
Yeah.
a family of 4, that's $80. I don't think people are.
And you can fund your entire football team.
Yeah, like if you're worried about $80, I would imagine that maybe attending the game probably not for you. I know that's harsh, but it is what it is.
I don't know. I think schools are afraid of doing that because I think they know that if they raise it now, it takes away from money that they could be taking in when they do want to raise it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I don't know. Anyway, so there's kind of some off the field discussion for you. Let me ask you this, and we're going to get into breaking things down next week and getting into the real minutia about it. But out of all the things that maybe we haven't talked about, or people who we haven't talked to during preseason camp, like if you had one request, George, and it had to be granted that you could talk to this person, who would it be?
Outside of assistants?
I was about to say
Outside of coaches,
I
yeah.
was about to say I think you know my answer to this question.
Even injured people.
I mean, Andrell would be
Yeah,
great.
that's who I was thinking.
I think Andrell would be good.
And say why. I mean, because obviously you want to know his mindset and how he's recovering. And
Yeah,
what
and
this
I
has
want to
been
know,
like.
does he, and, of course, I think he's going to say, oh, yeah, I feel like my old self. But, I guess I more so just want to see Andrew play. I want to know, does he still have that same, because, he was, I think we forget how good he was at last year until he got hurt. He was by far their best wide receiver in
And
a
it
lot of
wasn't
ways.
just how good he was. It was he showed up in every big moment, it seemed like. When
Yeah.
that team needed to move the ball on third down, it was find out Andre Anthony.
When I think the play he got injured on was catching a third down pass against Texas.
He was
wasn't it?
blocking for Dylan
Oh, is
scrambling
that what it
around
was?
the corner, yeah.
But I think he caught a third down.
Oh, no, he caught a couple big ones in the first half.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, yeah, Andrell would be good to talk to.
How about defense?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody on defense. We haven't talked to Trace Ford. I don't know if he's at the top of my list. Woody.
Just
Yeah, we
in
haven't talked to
terms-
Woody yet.
Just to see where he's... And
And
it's-
to me, that's strange that we haven't talked to Woody because we've requested him quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those guys Brent just wants to hide what he's doing with him.
Yeah, I think
Which
so.
makes
but
me think that he could be a bigger part than maybe we think he might be.
I just think he's playing a couple different spots. And I think like Brent has said, his primary position is going to be corner. But if somebody goes down or something, Kendall Dolby is one that I said earlier about the cheetah position. We just haven't heard a whole lot. I think Kendall's had a really good camp, but we just haven't heard a ton about that position or other guys playing. I know Eli Bowen played a little bit there. They're looking for ways to just get Eli Bowen on the field, I think. But I'd love to talk to Kendall and pick his brain on who else is even playing that position.
I think he's one of those guys that just we don't talk about enough. I know that we've said it before, but I don't see him leaving the field a whole lot. And I know that they want to roll Cheetah, but I don't know. He's just a really solid football player. And I think they trust him a lot.
The other one is R. Mason. We haven't talked to R. Mason.
Yeah.
And I think he could have a monster year if he's healthy. So,
We did talk to him in the spring, I believe, right?
yep. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys that we haven't really spoken to.
Yeah, I mean, we're only getting 4 guys at a time, and it's been 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess 3 weeks.
One interview session a week is what we've had since camp started. I'd be interested in talking to Casey Thompson just to get his perspective on the quarterback stuff.
Sure.
Somebody
It does
cares.
seem like that this is also a situation, too, that, and maybe you don't even have to worry about it, but I think in a way that...
Family business.
Oh, they're coming in.
Yeah.
It does seem like when you talk about, Or what were we talking about?
Who you would want to talk to if you could. That they probably won't give you access to.
Zach Schmidt.
Yeah.
Oh,
wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. I would like to talk to him where his mind, because
they almost brought Luke Elzinga.
Zach Schmidt might actually be one of the top of the list. And again, fans probably don't want to hear that, but like, I'd love to just pick his brain on like, where are you mentally?
Yeah.
Like what is going through your head right now?
I think he would say something to the effect of it's a fresh start this year, and even maybe all the way down to Doug Deacon coming in.
And you know what's crazy about Schmidt too, and again, people are...
You got to be super confident.
Yeah, I was about to say, because he could have easily just transferred.
Yeah.
You know, he like that's the thing about him is like he could have. They brought somebody in to compete with him. They brought in a true freshman that's supposedly supposed to be really good, and Liam Evans. Like, there was plenty of chance to jump in the portal for him. So I'd love to talk to him.
It is really, I mean, like with all the stuff going on with Michael Fasusi and all these guys signing and coming down to the wire with all these big programs. It does make me wonder, like, if the transfer portal has changed forever because of NIL.
As far as...
Like, you're going to... Even if you're not happy or happy with playing time, you're still going to be getting paid a lot of money. So why would you leave that behind if you didn't have that assurance? Because, like, look, if somebody... If let's say Michael... This is a terrible thing. I don't want to say that. Let's say anyone that you recruit's a big recruit and they're kind of a bust. Like, they can try and process you and chase you out. They could probably, as long as you're dealing with collectives, and I think this has happened, where collectives just like, I'm sorry, we just can't keep giving you the same deal that we gave you, and then force their hand. But like, if you're a bust somewhere, you're not going to become valuable to other schools, except for maybe group of 5 or group of 6 or whatever they are now.
I think that the only difference with that will be the 5-star kid that does go to that first school and bust. Somebody's going to give him another chance. As opposed to
especially
somebody
like SMU if he's a Dallas kid.
Yeah,
or
sure.
Look at like
Savion Byrd.
The kid at Florida State that's going to be the quarterback.
DJ?
Yeah. I mean, he busted at Clemson. He was okay at Oregon State last year, and now he's back at a major program.
Yeah. Good opportunity for him.
Yeah.
But I think we can recognize quarterback is one of those things that it can't be compared to other positions. It's just like the NFL. They overvalue. They overdraft quarterbacks for a reason because.
But what about here's an example that we could use as an OU example. How about like a Savion Byrd?
Mm-hmm.
That's Eddie just
Eddie just you just said that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that, and as it turns out, I kind of wonder like how Savion Byrd right now would fit into the plans. I mean, they obviously love.
Did you see where he's listed on the depth chart?
No,
for SMU, second string,
not starting.
Yeah, second string left guard.
Wow, man.
And guess who? Nate Anderson.
Is he starting?
Starting at right tackle.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It isn't. It is crazy.
Damn. Yeah. I'm kind of shocked right now. Right.
You know who? If we want to get back to who we want to talk to, 2 guys that I'd love to talk to that we didn't get to talk to because they came in over the summer, and I think could end up playing a little bit this year. Eddie Pierre-Louis and Taylor Tatum.
Yeah.
Those are 2 guys we haven't talked to that I'd love to talk to. Like, I think that, again, I don't know if they'll act like Eddie Pierre-Louis. We'll see if he actually gets to get on the field this year. But I think he had a really good fall camp. Is a guy that could definitely start there maybe next year. And then Taylor Tatum, I think, is going to play this year. So I'd love to talk to them. Jaden Jackson. We haven't talked to Jaden Jackson. Shit, he might start.
Yeah.
As a true freshman.
I talked to him at the spring thing for a little bit.
Spring
he was great. When we talked with the players.
Oh,
like when
like
they
right
had
before
all
yeah,
the
but
newcomers
I'm
got
saying
to
like
come out.
I'd love to talk to him like
since he's been practicing.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, yeah.
For David Stone, the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, David Stone. I love to because I think David's going to play this year. I think it's going to be more situational than Jaden.
That's going to be fascinating to me. Now he might be a guy that they go straight vanilla with early on until Tennessee gets here. I mean, get him reps, get him used to the physicality. But if they're going to play him in and out, inside and outside, I don't think they're going to show that until Tennessee.
No, but I think he's going to get a lot of reps in these first few games.
Yeah.
Like I think they'll throw him out there and just go because he's one of those guys. He's got so much talent. He just has to learn how to be consistent with it and know how to play snap to snap. And so I think that they're going to just try and get him a ton of reps these first few games because I think by the end of the year they want him to be a part of that rotation. Like, did you guys see the quote Todd Bates gave in the ESPN story?
Yeah, Rittenberg.
Yeah, I mean, he basically was like, "We want to play him."
Yeah,
is what he indicated.
Are there any freshmen right now that maybe there's a lot of people outside thinking that they're going to play quite a bit that end up, I think it might have been one of the questions you asked me from the mailbag, that a freshman that a lot of people think is going to play, but when we look up in November, it's like, yeah, he really hasn't figured into it this year. Is there anybody that comes to mind for that?
I think Tatum could be one of those guys.
Tatum.
If things, if people stay healthy and Javonte Barnes really has got back into form.
I mean, Eli Bowen, again, I think they love Eli Bowen, but they're so deep at corner and all these other spots. It's like, well, who's he playing over?
Yeah.
And especially when you get into these big games, like we talk about Woodi, and I know Woodi has maybe some limitations athletically or whatever compared to some of these other guys, but you know what you're getting from Woodi every single play. And so the coaching staff is going to lean on him when they're playing, at Ole Miss. Like,
I feel, hold on a second. Like the whole, and I know you're not shitting on anybody, but like the whole Woodi has limitations things. Like Woodi Washington has been one of the best corners that we've seen at Oklahoma in a decade.
I agree, but do you think his ceiling
all of a sudden he tells everybody, he's honest. Like the NFL said I wasn't going to be a first round draft pick, and like everybody was worried whether he was going to leave or not after the end of last season. Like he's just too good. Like he's going to get drafted by the NFL, and he comes back and he says, "Well, they didn't really see me, as a standout corner in the NFL, and I'm going to come back and try and play some safety and increase my value." But it's like all of a sudden this narrative is out there. I'm not saying it's coming from you, that Woodi Washington is just an also-ran. He's a hell of a cornerback. Like
I agree.
I'm not sure that he's not their best cornerback. I mean, Gentry Williams hasn't stayed healthy long enough to prove. I think Gentry Williams, physically and just talent-wise, is the best corner. But availability is the best ability. You hear that all the time. And Woodi Washington has had a better career as a cornerback at the University of Oklahoma. That you can't put more than 5 other people in that category in the last 10 years that have been better than him.
I agree, but I think they've also recruited guys with higher ceilings, and that's my point. Is like I think at some point these guys are going to maybe pass him up a little bit. That's my point.
I don't think this year.
I don't know. The things you're hearing about Jacoby Johnson, if he can figure it out, I mean, that's a good guy that I think it can be a superstar.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And I think Gentry Williams can be a superstar.
But can he reach the consistency level that Woodi Washington's attained?
I don't know. And that's why I'm saying, that's exactly why I'm like, I think Woody's going to be the starter. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that, like, you can't tell me if, like, it all depends on matchups too. Like, if they go and they play some suit, like Luther Burden, for example, like, I don't know, is Woody your best option, or do you take your chance with the guy?
That's a fair point. I mean, but that's like saying, it takes an All-American type player to guard, to defend Luther Burden for an entire game.
And I'm saying that I think Jacoby Johnson could maybe be an All-American type player at some point in his career. So, like, that's my point. Is like, I love Woody, and I think there's a role for him on this football team. But if you looked up at the end of the year and you said Jacoby Johnson and Gentry Williams are your 2 best corners, that should not be shocking to anybody.
And I'm going to say at the end of the year,
Kenai Walker?
Kenai Walker. I mean,
I could make the argument that maybe Kenai's that guy that we think is the best corner by the end of the year.
Yeah. But
I agree with you. I agree with you, Carey, that, I mean, Woody's probably the best corner they've had since, I mean, Trey Brown was really good. Mm-hmm. Aaron Colvin was better. Zach Sanchez, I think he's in the same category as like a Zach Sanchez. Like, Zach Sanchez was good, but wasn't great.
Yeah.
I think they have a couple guys on this roster that can be great at corner. Maybe probably more than a couple. And that's why. And I
just wonder if it can happen in a year, other than Gentry.
But I also think they're going to play Woody in a different spot. Like, I think when they get down to these games and Ole Miss is running 5 wide out there, I think you could see Woody playing some in the slot, and then you bring in a Jacoby Johnson on the outside. Like, because I think Woody might be better at that spot than somebody else.
I think Woody only plays a lot more, not corner. Let me rephrase that. I think the only way that Woody plays other positions besides corner is if a Kenai Walker or a Jacoby Johnson comes along. Because I think...
Or somebody gets hurt at another spot.
They lied to him or anything, but I do think that, the coaches are like, we want to have him back because he's been one of our most consistent corners.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think also, though, like, what if a Kendall Dolby gets hurt? That's my question.
Yeah.
Who plays Cheetah?
Because it's about your best 11.
Right.
I think that would be an auto Woody to Cheetah.
Yes.
And then you still have that kind of that
or maybe it's not Woody to Cheetah. Maybe it's an Eli Bowen
Could Peyton Bowen bump down and play Cheetah?
Des
and then
Malone,
you
like
put
there's all these guys.
Robert
that
Bruce
you can
Jennings
move.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Des Malone. I don't know. The secondary is clearly, and not that they've kept us at arm's length, but we haven't given it, like I said, we haven't been able to talk to Woody. We have talked to Peyton Bowen, I think. We've talked to Billy Bowman.
Well, we haven't talked to Billy
not since media days.
or Danny since media days.
Okay. So, I mean, they haven't really given us, and I think they're kind of playing cat and mouse a little bit with what's really going on.
And I'm guessing next week we'll get like Billy, Danny, Jackson,
It'll
Farouk,
be your
maybe.
quote-unquote leaders.
And to be fair, we haven't really
been
been asking for Billy or Danny that much because we've wanted to talk to other players, as few people as we've gotten.
Well, we just kind of know what Billy and Danny are going to say.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against them. They're great, but we just want to talk to some new guys.
Well, we will have, so the schedule moving forward is Brent will have his weekly press conference on Monday. That'll be Tuesday during the season. Yep. But because of the Friday start, he'll be on Monday. We don't know yet players, what day we're going to have them. But I will tell you, we're getting into a schedule next week where we just ramp it up. So we've told you guys this before. I know we're, because of the Fasusi commitment, we're a day late on the pod this week. So just the way it goes sometimes. But Monday's recruiting report, Tuesdays practice report, Wednesdays unofficial 40, family business. Thursdays will be the game day preview. We'll see if we fill in the blanks a little bit with Friday. Of course, the Eskridge Lexus post game report or post game podcast will still be there on Sundays as well. So a lot of stuff to come, and we're really looking forward to it. It'll all get started on Sunday with the recruiting report. So. Yeah, I mean, it is winding up, and it's going to be here soon. Recruiting-wise, Josh will be back again next week to update us on 25 stuff. Pretty much over. I mean, maybe something pops up here and there. I know there's been a lot of questions about the Floyd Boucard guy possibly taking another visit, so we'll check in with Josh, see if there's anything there. And outside of that, guys, I mean, anything that you guys wanted to hit on before we get out of here?
No, I'm excited about this thing. It's going to be a lot of fun this year to just kind of go into this new endeavor that I feel like we've, again, have been talking about for basically the last 3 years and everything that kind of led up to this moment with the SEC and all that kind of stuff. But,
seems like it's been months since you guys were up on the stage with Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, what's it been? Over a month and a half?
Almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months ago. So it's definitely here.
I feel like the summer went by fast, and then fall camp went so slow.
Yeah, these days have crept by, and August usually does that because it gets so damn hot outside and all that kind of stuff.
Miserable.
But it is. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that I think we have about this team that certainly will be answered in due time, but. I do think that oftentimes we go into the non-conference. It's like, well, you're not gonna learn anything until the second weekend of October or whatever. We'll know before, and I wouldn't even say first quarter at Temple, but I do think there's a certain presence that really good teams have from the get-go, and we'll see if they have that. We'll see if this team can make a little bit of noise in the non-con, and then obviously into conference play at the beginning of the season.
All right, that's going to do it. Thanks again to the Oklahoma Zoological Society for presenting this podcast. Make sure you go to ozsgiving.org, sign up for the 16th annual ZOObrew presented by Byron's Liquor Warehouse at the OKC Zoo, Friday, September 27th. That's going to do it for George, for Eddie. I'm Carey Murdoch. We'll be back again next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.